waiting for Dana.
Yeah, come around.
There he comes.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So, it's not really cold in here, but I'm wearing my new hat. Everybody notice that?
Yeah.
Did you see my new hat?
Yeah, I managed to pick one up in black, which is just as nice as that one.
We actually have three different hats. So we got the gray one here with the logo on it, and then we have a black one, the same beanie hat with the logo, and then we have the roll-up rim, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Black hat. So look for those at gcmracing.ca. You can pick up one of your own.
It's good that you're wearing that too, because you know, around here it's like sunny, hot, hot, and then blisterly cold. Like it's like within a week, it's like minus whatever. So it's fitting for the moment. And of course, this being Halloween, yeah, it's getting cold out for sure.
Sweet.
And what does the cold bring? Usually brings build season, so that's fast approaching for most of us here in the snow belt.
And it's maintenance, and you know, I guess where we're at, like, we sort of, I don't know about you, but I sort of hibernate kind of in the winter. Like, I'm too old to be cold.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I'm far too old for that. Yeah.
And so here we are back in the studio, and actually a new studio.
New studio. Is this the first video?
This is the first video, I think.
In the new studio. So
how's the? You'll have to tell us on the comments how you think the audio is going, and if it's actually turning out okay.
And lighting and that stuff. It seems bright. It's a nice. Yeah. It's a nice studio. But
we changed up some stuff.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited.
I'll tell you what looks good is that right there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was the 2017 build for me, the XJ, which saw the circuit, and we had a lot of fun with that.
Love it.
Of course, there's a little bit of a tidbit behind me that's going to be an add-on to that, but we'll talk about that later.
We will indeed.
Of course, there's a bunch of goodness going on in front of us, and I think the theme of this video is just to see what's going on. What's the latest from us? So
I've kind of been seeing a lot of builds out these days.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of new stuff coming along. The HPI Venture's out now, and so you're starting to see some builds about that. There's a new Charisma Coyote scalar truck that's out.
Tell me what you know about that, because I don't know much about that. I've seen it, but it looks interesting.
Anytime, right now, anytime.
It's coming through the door?
It could come through the door.
You know, it's Halloween, but it's always Christmas here.
So, I've seen some good reports about the truck. I have yet to have it in my hand, but the local guys that are sending it up from the hobby shop locally, they've got it, and they're very impressed. And you know what I'm impressed about from just seeing the reports and the tech and stuff on it is it's already steel gears and all that stuff that kind of matters right away from the box. So that's impressive.
Interior or anything like that? Or
No.
Okay, so just a shell.
It's a really nice sort of a start for Charisma to get into scale.
Mm-hmm.
And they did sort of the base SCX-10 kind of thing, where they've got a nice suspension set, a nice set of, you know, typical wheels and big tires and axles, but they've added stuff like steel gears and nice looking Lexan old-fashioned kind of truck lid.
Do we know what body style it is?
I don't know. I'm kind of pinning it like a '60s, you know, Chrysler, Dodge kind of a pickup trucky sort of.
Is it specific and we just don't know, or is it a generic style looking body?
Yeah, I don't think it's licensed.
Okay.
So from that point of view, I think it's just generic because it's not licensed.
Right. And for any of those who have managed to get one now, let us know. I would love to see anything that's coming out.
Yeah.
It looks like a neat truck for sure.
So we have plans for that. There's actually two interesting plans for that. The first plan is that we're going to shove a scale drivetrain in it because we can't help it. And the next thing we're going to do is give it away for our Call to Crawl Series winner.
Oh, nice. Nice. Whoa, that'll be nice.
So, and the winner doesn't even know who they are.
Oh, so that's 2017 winner.
That's our local series winner.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. So, two surprises there.
There we go. More to come.
Pretty excited, actually.
Yep, for sure.
And of course, it's maintenance now. You know, it's now you got to check all your CVD shafts and your drive shafts because you're going to store your trucks probably for a few months in the dark season here in the north and the west, and So, you know, that sort of thing is on the table now too.
Before we leave new vehicles, now I had the latest RC car action, and there was a list from Axial. On the bottom of the list had those had a '69 Blazer, SEX2, a Honcho, a Deadbolt, something else. Wow. Anyways, I'm really curious about that. I'm really interested to see what comes out from those, and I want that '69 Blazer. If anybody knows anything about this, I mean, I know it made the forums and everyone was taking a picture of the listing, but man, I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah, so '69 Blazer, like who doesn't want that? And it just seems to fit the Axial sort of plan, you know? They're taking a really good existing platform, the SEX2, and then adding a new lid on it, and so, of course, everybody has it on their Christmas list right there.
And before we leave that too, I mean, that scale drivetrain that you have for the SEX2 is amazing. It's a lineage from our SEX1 platform, and I'm excited to get that '69 Blazer, put a scaled drivetrain in there. Oh, just mint.
That sounds like the perfect everyday truck.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
You just sort of drop a battery in and head out to the trail, and it doesn't really matter what the trail looks like today because you're prepared.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting into some maintenance. So that's what this is all about. Looks like we've got some finishing and 3D printing that's going on here.
Yep.
What's going on with this one?
So some of you who are following us on our media channels, you've found out that we're doing a TMX skeleton now, which is of course our TMX axles, our 3D printed TMX axles. We now have those in factory built. We're starting to slowly expand the factory built section of our websites, and so the TMX axles can now be bought and dropped right into a skeleton. And this being Halloween, talking about skeletons is kind of a good idea.
Wow.
Hey. And if you're interested in skeleton combo,
yeah, you're right.
They are on sale till November 5th.
Oh, perfect. The Halloween special. There
Halloween,
we go. Yeah.
It's a scary skeleton
skeleton sale. Say that 10 times.
There's one right there. Go ahead.
No, I can't.
You did one already.
No, I can't.
Down to 9.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and this one, I kind of got excited about this again because you know how I love my stock looking Jeeps, right? I mean, even with the shocks all the way extended, it's like super stock looking. Yeah. I've got the little Pitbull Rock Beast on there. This is the 1.5 Rock Beast on our mini mag wheel. And it looks so good, I just want to like play with it all day.
Yeah, head out to the trails with that one.
These are so good looking.
They are a truly good one. I mean, once you marry that, I was kind of skeptical about the Chinese body, but once you put it all together and get a package, especially when you do this wheel and tire combination, it sets it off for sure. I love it. Yeah.
And our TMX is a 44 Dana copy sort of thing. Actually, we designed the cover right off of the picture.
Right.
You know, so they look pretty good. And they work with all of our TMX guts, and so you get lots of steering and reliability. They're pretty good.
So they're on sale, so now's the time for sure.
Yeah, you get 15% off. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure.
So let's put this away and kind of talk about other Jeepy things.
Okay.
There was an announcement a while back that JS Scale, who you guys have heard me talk about already on the channel many times, jsscale.net is where you can find them. They are now marketing this Comanche. It's the XJ hard body front end.
Clever.
Combined with a new cab tail, and of course proper Comanche box. So we're right in the middle of putting this on a C-Max, and so it's still a bunch of work to go. But I'll tell you what, this is a nice departure from a Jeep Wrangler, from a JK.
Why don't you get in, because this is obviously, this is molded body, correct, in the front end, and then this is 3D printed in the back. Tell me some of the techniques and some of the things that you've done to get it to look like this.
I guess you can kind of see the stages actually here as we're going, because what I did initially is I took the cab, the XJ hardbody cab, this is ABS plastic, and then I put on the JS Scale cab back parts, which are all 3D printed PLA. So they adhere like literally perfectly, like one piece after you use a proper CA on it, a little bit of activator if you want. And I got a really nice solid cab out of it. I mean, this is...
Yeah, it looks great.
And this has no finishing done on it yet at all. So there's a bunch of obviously, sanding to do and try to blend the surfaces and get the joint to disappear on the roof and things like that. But then the bed is completely 3D printed into a bunch of different pieces, and it goes together kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. And at the end of the day, I just took this printed bed and I put a bunch of coats of paint on it, and I did a little bit of block sanding on it, and I've pretty much got it down to, finish a bowl.
Oh yeah.
Like at this stage, it's actually kind of smooth and nice actually. So, I mean, hey, there's no reason why this thing couldn't be as durable or as considered as durable as a actual molded ABS hardbody. I mean, except for the PLA temperature control issues, you want to make sure that because it's an extruded plastic print, you don't want to over temperature the product and then crumple the whole product again, like melt it down. You don't want to do that, which you can't do with ABS in general circumstances, but with PLA you could actually damage it by overheating it. So other than that, this is as strong as it gets. Like, I mean, it's as easily compatible with RC as any other hard body that you could possibly have.
It's got a good feel to it. It's got a good weight, but not too heavy, because there's always that debate about how heavy something should be or how light it should be.
So true, eh?
There was always with the early 3D printed bodies or with early 3D printing, there was always a bit of a mystery as to, can you get the finish smooth enough so that if you're not going for a weathered look, but you're actually going for a finished look, could you get a 3D printed body to that level? And you know what, you're well on your way here, and we've seen some examples in our travels where it is possible. It's a lot of elbow grease with the sanding and so on and so forth, but with proper primer and paint, which it's been done here, it's really coming along. And you can see, as Chris was mentioning, the transition. Nothing has been done here, which has its 3D printed lines per se. But once you get into this, it looks fantastic, and it's really going to represent quite nicely. So yeah, I'm excited to see this build and this finish, and of course, what a great offering from JS Scale.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. So they also sell, of course, the full complete truck. Like obviously the full XJ 4-door hardbody Jeep. And then, because they have supply for both of these products, they've combined them into a Comanche kit. And I mean, that's an original in the industry right now.
Yeah, looks great. Looks really good.
Really excited to get that done, actually.
And then, of course, as you mentioned, it's on the C-Max driveline, scale driveline, which is mint. Just can't go wrong.
I'm pretty excited to have a proper scale truck out of it. I cut the hood off the XJ front end, so I could have an opening hood and a full engine bay. And
so you're going to do that, full engine bay?
Oh yeah, I can't help myself.
Building trucks, 4 years ago or 5 years ago was a lot simpler than it is now. There's a certain expectation for us and for a lot of you to put 3D printed motors and scale motors and drive lines and drivetrains. Like, I mean, it's amazing and so much fun, and the level of detail is unbelievable. But the amount of work is unbelievable too. So kudos to all you guys doing that out there.
Yeah. So interesting enough, as much as I'm motivated to build pretty much all my trucks on a C-Max now because of the adjustability and the scale drivetrain and stuff, I'm coming to realize that when it comes to the body finishing, I have a lot to go on my skill set. I need a lot of help, like a lot of work. I've got a long way to go. I can put together the chassis kind of quick, but man, I need to step up my finishing.
I find my weakness, and you help me a lot with that, is I can sort of get the finishing, get the scale detail, but I can't marry the body and the chassis together very well. But over the years, with all of the products and the mounting hardware that you have that's available out there now, really makes that easy for me. But my challenge was always to get it to go together and stay together on the trail. And we've certainly come a long way with that also. So that's a bit of a challenge always for me.
He makes it sound bad, but we don't have to like edit the videos too much or anything. Like the body's always falling off. I mean, it's just not like that. I mean, it's not like that.
No, for sure. There's actually zero editing that we go on, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So big changes for sure, right? Like, I mean, hold that up and we'll hold this up. I mean, you can see kind of, I mean, was it, how many years ago were we building the two Blazers, right, on the Ascender platform? And we put the motor tranny sort of stuff in the front too on the Blazers, but those builds were 3 years ago maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
And now we're doing like full scale drivetrain and no more coilover suspension. It's all proper coil buckets.
No more of this, right?
No more giant tranny stuff. And
yeah, and again, you had touched on some of the industry leaders are coming out with the motor forward design, with HBI coming out with their what is it, an FJ?
The Venture FJ, yeah.
FJ, which was a mystery for so long, but it's finally coming out. Are you getting your hands on one of those, or?
Yeah, we're gonna have to pick up an FJ too. I have a couple of ideas about product for that. Yeah, that looks really good actually.
I wonder if anybody has one out there yet. Have they hit the stores?
So apparently they have. I've started to see, even today I was playing around on the media channels and I've seen a couple people say that they're in stores.
Really?
So,
okay.
I mean, the supply chain is in motion.
I imagine Matt and Richard from SBG will have one.
Yeah, you know, the scale, and Hemistorm already has one, right? Chris has one, and he's done some simple mods to it and driven it all over the place in that junkyard video, which was amazing. And so, thanks for that inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, the industry is still in motion constantly. We should say something about the TRX-4 at this point too, eh?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Interesting vehicle. I mean, there's mixed reviews about it. I think the purists that are doing this are kind of, you know, but and going back to this, I mean, for the beginner and for the intermediate, what an amazing vehicle to have. And you know, Traxxas really put a lot of effort into a lot of added value to it.
I like gizmos and stuff, you know, like I like the FlySky radios that are hacked with 8 channels.
Sure,
and, you know, I'm kind of a gizmo-y kind of guy, you know, and so I do have some intrigue with the 2-speed and the open diffs and lockable diffs and all that stuff. I'm kind of intrigued by all that.
It looked interesting. I've seen one up close, and I was amazed with the way they lock the diffs. I didn't see that coming. Maybe I just didn't pay attention, but you know, I think they're having a little bit of trouble with their servos. But other than that, it looks like a pretty incredible platform, and good for Traxxas and HBI and all these guys coming out with these pretty cool rigs. You know, we want these people to buy these and have fun with these, and then if they're looking to do some upgrades, they come see us, and we've got everything for them. So yeah, pretty awesome rigs that are really coming out in the industry right now.
There does seem to be a trend. I think we can all agree that moving the motor and transmission into the front seems to be a trend. The fact that the Venture comes out stock like that now, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And the Traxxas has the motor in the front, if you will. Unfortunately, both of them still have the motor can off the center line beside the servo. So although the motor's in the front and they're getting some of the weight bias gains from that, they're still not getting the motor in the middle of the truck, which makes motor covers kind of hard to put on. So, you know, there are good options out there for doing adapting that. Of course, a simple styrene can over your motor and a little motor cover is important, but I mean, we care about that because we care about engine bays and interiors and stuff like that. It's kind of like, if you're going to build a truck, then that has to be on the list. So, I don't know. Do you ever think that the RTR industry is actually going to move that direction?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. I don't think so. I think that's where we come in, and you know, manufacturers and designers like ourselves out there come in.
Yeah.
There's always a bit of wiggle room, but they're leaning towards that direction. We'll see. We'll see. It seems as though this industry, the tiny truck industry, has really got a stronghold and is really starting to move forward, be present. It's great to see. It doesn't seem to be slowing down. There seems to be more and more rigs coming out that are incredible, and that's encouraging.
So, speaking of the movement in the tiny truck world, we actually used all of you as a guinea pig, but you didn't know that. Because part of the thing that we wanted to see years ago in 2015 was if the Adventure Series model would actually take off. And at this stage, we're getting requests from clubs all over the world to host Adventure Series in their local area. So I'm going to have to say that not only is the Adventure Series model that we've come up with a grand success, but the industry for tiny trucking is definitely growing. 100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? Tiny truckers are building more fantastic trucks every day. Instead of just bringing RTRs to the event, they're actually building trucks. Like there's hundreds of man hours going into these crafts, if you will, like art. And we want to see them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we want them to get shown off and have a great time and be used and enjoyed and with your peers, you know. So that's what Adventure Series was all about. And so,
of course, we had a couple of local guys come up with some pretty incredible builds. Dana, Chris, and Dan showed up. We had a great weekend with them showing up. And for those who are local or far, if you guys want to show up and show off your latest rig, come on by. We would love to have you. Take you out on some local rock and trail. It'd be a lot of fun.
That you might have seen that on the media with the tag called Secret Saturday.
yeah, great tag, by the
way. We had a really fun time with those group of guys. A bunch of our locals came. Locals, I mean, they drove 6 or 7 hours to get here, some of them. But we had a really nice little crew of guys here and just shop, hang out, basement racing, some decent food and fun and trail time and lots of pictures and great day.
It was a nice sort of bookend to the end of the season to have them come up, so it was awesome. Speaking of end of season, that's why this thing's on the table. We're just briefly talking about end of year maintenance. This is one of our local guys. It looks like the transmission, there's something going on in there, so we're going to tear it apart and have a look. But you may want to touch on a little bit of end of year maintenance and what should be done.
I would encourage everybody that has a wet looking truck or a mud used truck over the course of the season to at the very least go over it with some kind of a oil spray. I kind of move away from WD-40 because it actually dries. It's an emulsifier, but the things like fluid film and nut buster and all these other different kinds of simple oil sprays, they work really well for just keeping the rust from growing on your truck. And you can go over the hardware and the CVD shafts and the bearings and the, you know what I mean, and it's good. I think it's just good maintenance to do something like that at the end of your season.
Yeah. Again, you know, I've been guilty of running my truck, and it seems as though when we go to events, a lot of people include water in their trails, right?
A little bit, at least, eh?
It's part of the scenery, and so these things get wet, and they tend to, if you leave them on the shelf for 6 months, 8 months, they tend to get rusty. Oftentimes, you're going to get a lot of debris that's caught in between the hub and the wheel here, and whether it be you know, weeds or what have you. So just pull that out. But this is something that we're going to maintain. We're going to fix up for one of our local guys. You guys know what you're doing, but don't forget to do it because, especially where we are, this season is coming for sure.
Yeah. And then it's kind of build season, right? It's just a transition, I guess, from being outdoors on the trail to on the bench. And we have a lot of cool stuff on the bench right now.
We do. There's a lot going on. Why don't we make some room for some things that are seem to be over on that side of the table that I'm interested in that I can't wait to see happen.
We touched on the 3D printing stuff a little bit here. And one of the things that we're going to start on for our fall build season is actually a series of videos about making use of 3D printing. You'll see them come up in the playlist, but the reality is 3D printing is now part of normal RC life. We finally just have to admit that. I mean,
I'm glad you can admit that because for me it's an absolute mystery, but I've got a key guy that knows everything about it. But and you're right. You're not wrong. For me, it's a mystery because computers are a mystery. But you know, more and more guys coming to more and more events have more and more incredible 3D printed accessories, bodies, what have you. So you're right, it is a big scene and big part of the RC world.
When we started the Scale Garage here, our introduction to 3D printing kind of happened at the same time, because we got together with Top Shelf Hobbies and Exclusive RC at the same time, and you'll probably see that video way back in our YouTube channel. And we populated a lot of the Scale Garage with 3D printing stuff, and that just like...
It's funny, that's kind of where it started to some extent, eh?
That blew my mind, like guys making like toolboxes and
true.
benches and like little grinders and stuff, and I don't know, it just exploded my brain as soon as I saw this stuff. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I remember you were pretty excited, and
it was so cool.
And spent a few dollars populating your Scale Garage.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
And then of course it turns out to be a great platform for pictures and stuff, and we've just enjoyed that so much, you know. We have to talk about this. This is new on your bench, right?
Yeah, this is kind of a late season build. It's, of course, and speaking of 3D printed, this is a wild one, but I have one of James Knight's incredible wild one 3D printed Volkswagen motors that I put on the back of this. By no means is it finished. I've still got a bunch of detailing to do.
Wow.
And then, you know, I'm a sucker for Tamiya and the re-releases. Like most of you are. It's got some detailing. It's not finished. I've got a lot of detailing to go, and I haven't quite finished the decals. But the reason why this exists is it's going to be a bookend for the XJ. I'm going to tow it behind and do some beach fun next summer. But this was a nice end of season build for me. Simple. You know, it's funny. We talk about all these builds and how complicated it was, but to sit down and build a Tamiya kit and the simplicity of it, if I can say that, based on the complexity of some of our builds, was really enjoyable. It was kind of relaxing just to get back into something like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a fun build. It's nothing extraordinary. It's just your simple wild one, which I love, with a little bit of 3D printed added on. But I believe next summer this is going to have an important role to play in one of our events with this. I think we're going to do a vintage Doom Buggy series at the G6. Not sure, but that's where they're leaning towards. I thought I'd jump the gun with this. So that's why this is here, and I thought I would just sort of populate the garage back here. So that's why this is sitting back here. So I'm excited.
So you've definitely got a themed project going on.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm ready to go. And I need a trailer, so if anybody has a trailer that they don't want, I'll buy it up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Spoke up and speak up in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Get her done.
So what's, of course we got our pumpkin, but we got trick-or-treating going on here. We've got a lot of goodness going on, so why don't we touch on that?
We need to talk about this company if we're going to talk about 3D printing.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
For any of you that have done any kind of 3D printing exploration, I'm got to be at the top of the Google search as the Shapeways company, and they have enabled designers all over the world to actually come up with amazing designs that are now in people's hands. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where 3D printing really comes in the best, right? Where it really starts to shine is where you don't need to make 1,000 pieces as a production run for something, or 100 pieces. You can actually just get them printed off at Shapeways one by one as there's a demand. And the opportunity for the builder then suddenly just goes like this. Like, it's amazing. So we have a little bit of trick-or-treat awesomeness here we're going to start talk about. And we're definitely spanning the globe with this one, because this, of course, is the Chevy, the 66 Chevy, which is a Proline body. Proline, great American race company that does incredible amounts of Lexan and tires and shocks and truck parts, and it's just a great company. And we are going to do a build using this Lexan 66 Chevy from Proline, only we're going to populate it with parts from this fantastic company, who's from Norway. And all of these parts have actually been designed by a guy in Poland called RC Nerds. I mean, talk about going around the globe, eh?
Right. why don't you talk about RC nerds? Because I mean, I know of them, but I don't know of them.
So the gentleman's name is Pavel. He's been designing RC parts for years.
Okay.
And because of Shapeways and because of the opportunity to put your designs up for sale for the mass public to use, he's been taking his super pro design that he can do and then creating parts and kits that can transform a Lexan lid with now hard parts from 3D printing, and now the opportunity to turn this Lexan truck into something that's got epic detail is all of a sudden available. That opportunity was not available 5 years ago unless you handcrafted everything.
These mirrors are unbelievable,
I mean,
by the way. Just
incredible. So we're going to use a bunch of parts from a bunch of different designers from Shapeways on this truck. That's going to get us, eventually we're going to get a complete 66 custom Chevy body, full bed, full chassis, axles, everything, and a lot of these parts are going to be not metal, but printed plastic. A variety of different types of printed plastic. So we're actually really excited to get the build going.
Yeah, that's a neat build, and you're so right. To take a Lexan body and add a bunch of 3D printed parts to make it more scale, if I can say that.
Yeah.
What an add-on to
I mean, the level of detail that's available now through the 3D printing.
I mean, look at that.
It's amazing.
So that's obviously the mesh for the interior of that, right?
Yeah, is that not incredible?
Yeah, it's unreal.
This looks like a piece of molded plastic that you would have bought from a Revell model kit.
Right.
I mean, that's the quality of this piece right here.
Yeah.
And this, at some point, gets inserted into this grill work here, and you end up with, probably you can't even see that, but I mean, this is the amount of detail that just that grill work will add to the Lexan lid will just send it over the top. It's just incredible.
So this is RC Nerds.
RC Nerds is the name of the store that actually sells all these parts, and you can also get tons of SR5 parts from that guy. He's got all kinds of stuff that the RC custom builder guy will make use of for sure. Yeah.
So what are you going to put that under?
That's up for debate.
Okay.
Yep, I have thoughts about putting it on a 313 wheelbase SEX2 because now we have a full-scale driveline that we can use in that, so that will make this a pretty interesting project. I'm having some pretty serious thoughts about actually taking the hood off of this and getting the opening hood off the Lexan, which we also did on our 49 Chevy Lexan. And hopefully, at the end of the day, we can create, with some 3D printed parts, we can create a scale truck that's as good as can be.
So would you consider this your winter build? You probably have about 10 of them going on, but is this a winter off-season build for you?
This is going to end up as a fall build.
Okay.
I think I've got a couple of new things planned for the winter, certainly, but that goes along with the C-Max chassis, but certainly this build is going to become a fall build. I really want to get rolling on the finishing work of these Shapeways parts and try to get this project well underway. The chassis side is going to be pretty easy.
Yeah, that's what we do.
if we use the SEX2 truck and scale driveline combo, then that can all be bolted together in a couple hours and off we go.
Sure, perfect.
Yeah.
Of course, I've got my work truck that I need to finish in 4.5 months. I have no idea I'm going to do that, but
you have to.
I know, because our season will start in February, end of February, in Florida. So
at Ultimate Scale Truck Expo 2018.
Yeah, so it's going to be a busy season for us. I mean, it's always busy.
Yeah.
But we love it. We're having lots of fun.
Yeah. So very happy that we could finally make use of the new studio.
Yeah, I hope you guys like it. I hope it sounds good. Lighting seems to be good.
Yeah.
You're looking pretty good too, by the way.
Thanks, so
yeah, I'm getting old.
Yeah, and I'm getting old right behind you.
Excellent. Well, tiny trucking at its best right here at the GCM garage. We're having lots of fun.
Do check out build thread links on scalebuildersguild.com. You can check up stuff from Generis, which is the name that I'm using on Scale Builders Guild, and you are using?
Dana Timothy James Clark, so it's DTJ Clark.
You will find Dana's builds on DTJ
Clark. Say that 10 times fast. We keep doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you're gonna put up the work truck, are you?
Yeah. That's the plan. Well, I think I might. I mean, of course, I'll sort of do the finishing on SPG, but IG I think is where I'm gonna try to do that build.
That's fresh.
Chris is very much into computers, and I'm very much not. So I like the simplicity of IG. Not that Scale Builder is very simple, but I like the interface of IG. So I think my build will be on IG, to be honest.
And our IG channel is?
What is it? It's GCM Racing 1? No, GCM Racing.
GCM Racing.
That's it, yeah. I wasn't sure if there was a 1.
I don't know how we got the 1 on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
GCM Racing.
There must have been a GCM
you think so,
Racing
maybe?
out there.
We ended up with a 1.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah,
cool.
GCM Racing on IG. That's going to be coming. Chris is. I'll make an announcement on Facebook of that particular build, and then what I'll do is I think I'll just every so often as I'm building, I'll just take a couple snaps and put it up on IG as the progress goes along. So stay tuned. Look forward to that.
Yeah,
lots going on as usual. Always busy. Always looking. Always building the next greatest, best. So we're having lots of fun.
Yeah. Looking forward to our fall season, and thank you, by the way, to already 4 clubs around the world who have asked us for Adventure Series. We're flattered and honored to have the opportunity to come and hang out with you guys and bring an event that rewards the builder. Yeah,
it's pretty humbling. I mean, we're just passionate about RCs and tiny trucks and what we do. We're good friends. We just enjoy what we do, and to have a bit of an audience is a very humbling experience, and to have some requests around the world is sometimes we pinch ourselves because we're just a bunch of local guys building tiny trucks.
Just playing with trucks.
So we thank you guys so much. You guys are the reason why we're here.
Thanks for your subs and likes on the video. Do add your comments about how you feel about the studio and the video recording and stuff, because we got a bunch of new stuff here that might have some variables, so do let us know.
Yeah.
And we hope that you guys are happy in your fall build season, if that's what you're up to, or if you're on the other hemisphere and you're getting out on the trails. We're really happy for you guys to finally get out of your build season and get on the trail, so good luck with that.
You bet.
And I guess we'll see you soon.
Tiny Truck Salute.